I think the Speaker's done an excellent job of outlining all the good things that are coming about as a result of the comprehensive tax reform bill that we passed in December. Having been here a while, I'm in a good position to compare 2017 with other years. And if you prefer a right-of-center America, as virtually every Republican does, there was never a better year than 2017 in the time I've been here, which would cover 3 decades. Starting with the Supreme Court, now 13 circuit judges, but the 12 we did last year were the most in the first year of any administration since the circuit courts were established in 1891. We used the Congressional Review Act 15 times to try to deal with the regulatory rampage that occurred during the Obama years. It had only been used once in history. And finally, as the Speaker outlined, the incredible success of this tax reform legislation. You mentioned UPS, which happens to be the single biggest employer in Kentucky. And the employees all across the country are benefiting from what we did last fall. It is the reason for optimism, for growth, the opportunity to get our country growing again. Now, think of it this way: taking your foot off the brake and putting it on the accelerator and giving America the opportunity to reach its potential.
Does anyone have any questions? Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How do you respond to President Trump's own FBI record appointee saying that the memo that you read and say should be released could pose a grave danger to the country?
Well, let me just step back for a second. First of all, let me tell you what this memo is and what this memo is not. What this memo is Congress doing its job in conducting legitimate oversight over a very unique law, FISA. And if mistakes were made and if individuals did something wrong, then it is our job as the legislative branch of government to conduct oversight over the executive branch if abuses were made. Remember, FISA is a unique situation which involves Americans' civil liberties. And if American civil liberties were abused, then that needs to come to light so that that doesn't happen again. What this is not is an indictment on our institutions of our justice system. This memo is not an indictment of the FBI, of the Department of Justice. It does not impugn the Mueller investigation or the Deputy Attorney General. What it is the Congress's legitimate function of oversight to make sure that the FISA process is being used correctly, and that if it wasn't being used correctly, that needs to come to light and people need to be held accountable so that we do not have problems again, because this does affect our civil liberties. Carrie.
Speaker, Schumer as well as Nancy Pelosi have called on you to remove Chairman Nunes from his position on the Intel Committee. What's your response?
I think they're just playing politics, and I think they're looking for a political distraction is what I get out of that. Look, the tax cuts are working. Tax reform is working. We've got ISIS on the run. Things are going well. Economic confidence, as I said, is at a 17-year high. I think they would love nothing more than to play politics and change the subject. Devin Nunes helped shepherd through a reauthorization of 702, which is the foreign terrorist, foreign surveillance law. So he's focusing on keeping our country safe, focus on national security. I think what they're trying to do is just sidetrack us with some political game.
Mr. Speaker,
Okay, you blurted out. You don't get called on. Yes.
Where do you guys stand on the CR? Could something come up for a vote in the House as released today?
We've been both talking about the CR for, first of all, the reason we're having these CRs in the first place is because the Democrats have been holding the cap agreement hostage, the military funding hostage, for an unrelated issue. So if we would have had our cap agreement in place by now, we would not be having to do these CRs. Having said all of that, I think we're making progress on a cap agreement. And even if we get everything figured out by, say, Tuesday, we still will have to have a CR, if only for the fact that we have to give the appropriators time to write an omnibus appropriations bill. So there will have to be a CR just to get the Appropriations Committee its time to be able to write an appropriations bill. We're still negotiating the contents and the duration of that. Hey, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I might just add, one tool I think has clearly been eliminated. I don't think we'll see a threatened government shutdown again over this subject. One of my favorite old Kentucky country sayings is there's no education in the second kick of a mule. And so I think there will be a new level of seriousness here in trying to resolve these issues the Speaker outlined as we go forward.
This is for the Senate Majority Leader. You're planning to put forward an immigration bill soon. Can you tell us which bill that's going to be?
No, what I said last Friday a week ago tomorrow, was if the immigration issue was not resolved inside the global discussions that the Speaker's been talking about, that we've had going on, which the Democrats have endlessly been trying to shoehorn the immigration issue into that collection of discussions. If those are not resolved, I'm perfectly happy, provided the government is still open on February the 8th, to go to the subject and to treat it in a fair way, not try to tilt the playing field in anybody's direction, and we'll see who can get to 60 votes.
Jake.
Reaction to the report.
See, you louder?
Reaction to the reports that Nunes changed this memo after it was voted on?
No, it was before. My understanding is before it was voted on. So the question was the memo. It's important that we scrub these memos for any sources and methods that could reveal national security or compromise national security. That scrubbing has taken place. In consultation with the FBI, they made a change to register those concerns, and then they voted on releasing the memo to the White House. So the process is exactly what it should have been. Scrub to make sure that there are no sources and methods being revealed. When a matter was brought to the attention of the committee, they addressed that matter, and then they went through the committee process. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, Republicans are traditionally the party of law and order. You have an FBI director saying, please don't release this memo. It is misleading. It is incomplete. He was appointed by a Republican president. Doesn't that give you pause?
No, what concerns me is if we are violating American civil liberties. You have to remember, this FISA law is a very unique law. The FISA law, I'm talking about Title I of FISA. There's been some confusion about different titles in this law. This law allows the government to go to a secret court to get a wiretap on a citizen. So this is incredible power that the people of this country, through Congress, has given our executive branch of government. So we have to make sure that this power is being exercised properly and judiciously. And if there are institutions, or excuse me, if there are instances or individuals who have abused that power, it is our job in Congress to shed light on that, bring transparency and accountability to the process. Let me just say, the vast majority of the men and women of the FBI are doing a great job. These institutions, the Department of Justice, the FBI, very important institutions for the rule of law, but it's also very important that we guard people's civil liberties as we exercise these institutions. Like I said to you on Tuesday, the men and women over at the Milwaukee office, you know, at the field office in the FBI, they're the ones who are helping keep the opioids out of our schools. So these men and women are doing a fantastic job, but we also have to make sure that if there are certain individuals who did the wrong thing, who either brought bias or cut corners or did something wrong that implicates an American civil liberties, it is our job as congressional overseers to bring people to account so that it doesn't happen again. Molly.
This is actually for Senator McConnell. Senator McConnell, have you seen the memo? And secondly, do you agree with Senator Thune that the Senate Intelligence Committee, at least Richard Burr, should see the memo before it's released publicly?
No, I haven't, and I don't have any suggestions to make to the Speaker. I think he's handling this just right.
Last question.
TCO.
Mr. Speaker, do you really believe that this memo has nothing at all to do and no impact on the special counsel?
What I'm trying to say is people should not draw lines. People should not implicate. Well, that's what I'm suggesting. People should not be drawing lines. People should not be implicating independent issues. This does not implicate the Mueller investigation. This does not implicate the DAG. This is about us holding the system accountable and reviewing whether or not FISA abuses occur. The government has been given extraordinary power over citizens' civil liberties. It is our job to make sure that the process is followed properly. And if it's not followed properly, then we need accountability. I say let all of it out so long as we're not involving sources and methods. So long as we're not revealing sources and methods to protect our national security, the more transparency, the better, so that the people of this country can see that their civil liberties are being protected, that the Constitution is being followed. That's why we think sunshine, transparency, and accountability is the correct antidote for this, and that is why the legislative branch of government, this duly elected branch of government, conducts its oversight over the executive branch of government. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Non-memo question, immigration.